Just hiking through the woods. Got out here a little late, 8:30. I don't think there's really anybody out here, but I am. It's beautiful. It's getting hot. I was just listening to some more of the new Kendrick album, and you can hear my breathing. I've been fucking smoking cigarettes like an idiot. But still doing the exercise thing and all that. But anyway, I was just listening to that, and it's got my mind thinking about different shit, and I was thinking about my upbringing and the way that things that I chose to do in my life, and he's got I think the song's called Father Time or something like that. But anyway, so I was thinking about it, and because my actual dad, he definitely was not around, and it was almost like, even since I was a kid, my mother was kind of forcing a relationship upon him with me, which I appreciated, but he wasn't the most fatherly person even then, even like once every several years, but he made decisions too, and but what I was thinking about was I made decisions even throughout my addiction, after divorce and relapse, and even some of my most, I don't know, using the most drugs or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? My most abusive drug use, I should say, right? I still made a decision to try as much as I could when I had my kids, because I only had them for, about 3 to 5 days a week, depending, on the week. And share custody with my ex-wife, and but I was falling into the throes of addiction, especially after my divorce, and things seemed hopeless. But the one thing that kept me going was that I had my kids, right? And so I knew that I didn't want to be like my dad. I knew that if one thing my father taught me was how to be a better father. I gotta kind of forgive him some. It's still hard to do, even several years after his death. I'm trying, I want to let it go, because it just, that anger and resentment, it eats at the inside of each one of us, Well, for me, I'm going to talk for myself. It eats out that inside of us, and I'm trying to get to a better place, I'm trying to be a better dad, better partner for my loved one, my girlfriend, whatever you want to call that. Not whatever you want to call it. I'm saying, people call it partner, some people call it girlfriend. We used to joke around and well, still death partners, but yeah, it's an ongoing process, and Facebook is a terribly great reminder of some of the growth we've all gone through. It has like memories to look back on, and some of them from like 10, 12 years ago. I'm like, especially some of the shit's way out of context now, because I don't know. I can vaguely remember what the news story was, and I'm like, oh. And, and my views have changed some, if someone says, if you're the same person, I forget who it was, but I think it was a rapper, a hip hop artist, but he probably heard it from somewhere else, just like everything we all hear is recycled, right? But it was like, if you're the same person at 50 as you were at 20, you've wasted 30 years. That's deep, that's good, that's big. And in some ways I'm still that hyperbolic guy who loves to argue, you know what I mean? My points are a little bit different. The way that the society's going now. With this younger generation, I think it'll meet its water always finds its level, right? So these young kids, they don't know a shit ton, but I think a lot of them, their hearts are in the right place, I do. I think their hearts are in the right place. But I can tell you, I've got Gen Z kids too, and they're built a little different, They're a little more like us 70s and 80s kids, with like their comedy and And I think, like, like I said, I think it'll equal out. People will get sick of, people jumping down your throat for fucking just making a comment or asking fucking questions or just truly being interested in adversity and diversity, right? And knowing the difference, right? Like, just because someone else wants to be this way or that way, like, it ain't really infringing on you unless it really is infringing on you. And if that's the case, then that shouldn't be allowed anyway, right? I mean, it's like all these internet, things that we don't like, we ban, whatever it is, like we're editing for hate speech and blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, it's a bunch of ex-CIA agents, or I think they're current CIA agents, You don't work for the CIA for 15 years and then go to work for Facebook, You're still a CIA agent. You're just doing your last 5 to 10 at Facebook. But anyway, fuck was I saying? I get myself so off topic. But, I don't know. I just want to talk a little bit. I just wanted to talk a little bit about growth and decisions, and, I know I talk a lot about my youth and, it was rough. Don't get me wrong. But, like, if it wasn't for all the adversity and diversity, I guess, I'd probably be a way different person, right? Like, I mean, I've said it millions of times. I love that area right back there. It's pretty cool. It doesn't capture it well on the camera, but I ain't going over there. But I probably would have went another direction, I was talking to my girlfriend, my death partner, last night about, decisions and, so, it's, and growth, she, because, you can say, I've done this and I've done that and I've grown so much. But if nobody else is noticing, is it real? You know what I mean? If it's just you saying that shit. I mean, and I've gone through therapy, not currently in therapy, but I have done it on and off over the years. And, there's a little less stigma about that shit now than there was before. I gotta hold my head up. White is definitely not my color. But yeah, I mean, I've done work on myself, and I continue to do work on myself. It's hard listening to other people that you might not necessarily agree with 100%. Sometimes it's hard, it's hard to humble yourself and be like, and I've interrupted myself in this video like 6 times already and lost my train of thought, you know what I mean? And I'm a big time interrupter, blurter, but I am actively working to be able to sit and actually listen to someone else's story, the way they do things, or the way that life looks to them or was explained to them, you know what I mean? And I think if we don't talk to each other, we're not going to grow, they're not going to grow. None of us will, I mean, I don't think people really are into all this separation shit and, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, wokeness, you can call it whatever the fuck, but you know what I mean by that. Like, I'm not talking about being awake and like looking out, for other people and making sure you're not going out of your way to hurt people and, hopefully, and if you can, help people rather than hurt them. And if you can't help them, just fucking, don't hurt them, right? As long as you're not infringing on someone else's rights, you should be able to do what you want to do, right? And we got a long way to go in this country, but I think some of that, we've made a lot of progress, but we're not there yet. But I'm way off topic. But I just wanted to kind of touch on the fatherhood thing and decision making and sticking around, and even through my darkest times, I stuck it out, and made sure, because I knew, right? I knew that if I started because I would get my kids Saturday to Wednesday mornings, right? So Saturday after work till before I had to go to work on Wednesday, right? And I knew if I started, like, being like, oh, I can't take them this weekend. I got this, and that, or I can't do this, and oh, I don't have any money, so I can't, blah, 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 blah. All this bullshit, which are, it's a way of ourselves making it okay to distance ourselves from our responsibilities, right? And again, I said, I didn't want to be like my dad and not be there, my ex-wife's married again. So they have a stepfather, my girlfriend is like a stepmother of sorts with my kids, we're not married or anything, but, and like, she's been in their lives for over 6 years now. And, but, I didn't want to start getting used to being like a once a month father, or every other weekend. Like, nah, fuck that, these kids are my responsibility, right? And like, my influence on them now is probably way better than it was back in the, in the early days, especially after the divorce, and I was angry, I was hurt. We say and we do stupid shit, especially if, we're addicts or, have some sort of addiction. It doesn't matter what the addiction is, it could be gambling, sex, drugs, alcohol, eating, anything, I indulged in almost all of them, except for gambling. I'm not a big gambler because, I don't like throwing money away. I'd rather spend them on drugs than back in the day. But, like, I just made the decision that, I was going to influence them, good, bad, or indifferent. I was hoping for better, and I did better than my dad with my kids, and I'm getting better now. We talk more, and I'm exercising with them, and just they see me being consistent. They saw me consistently angry, and something wasn't right, whether they knew I was doing dope or not. It doesn't fucking matter, right? They knew something was wrong with dad, right? That's how I look at it. And, I'd be short-tempered at times, and, I don't like that. But, I'd be short-tempered, especially if I couldn't partake in my addiction like I wanted to on a daily basis, and when I was with them, I had to make sure there was food there, I had to cook, I had to clean, and then, the other shit I could spend on what I wanted, and there was no way to live, But now, they're seeing the consistency of me being clean, consistency of me, being in a stable relationship, me being stable around them, not yelling at them all the time, and, not overly freaking out about shit. Don't get me wrong. I still make mistakes. I might raise my voice once in a while. It's been a long time, but, I'm trying to be way more understanding of my children than my parents ever were, or, it was different times, man. It was like, yeah, you left the house at 6, 7 a.m. You didn't come back till 7, 8 p.m., especially in the summer. But, times are different now, and we're a little more hands-on with our parenting, right? But again, so I'm making better, consistent decisions, We're moving to a house, we have a business here. That's becoming more and more popular, and, I'm doing the video thing. Who knows where that's going to go, maybe it won't go anywhere. But, I figure the end of a very long life, I'm hoping, even if it's never monetized or whatever, it doesn't really fucking matter, right? I say that, but, of course I want money, but just to make my life easier with my kids, in their lives too, and doing something that I really love, And, but like, at least they'll have a video journal of their dad, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not always going to be the most appropriate person on these videos. I'm not going to be, I joke about a lot of rough shit because, I come from a long line of trauma. My neighborhood was very traumatic, for all of us in there, and I'm not always right, but I'm trying, I'm trying to figure shit out, it's hard navigating this world right now, it's hard to tell what's what sometimes, and, who's really on our side, and, this and that. And so if I can be here, for my kids, in person. Of course, I'd much rather that, in the physical form. But here, I mean, it'd be kind of cool, right? So we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about choices. That's all. And shout out to all my fellow dads out there that made the decision to stick around, even though it's way easier to fuck. Well, is it way easier? I mean, you got to deal with all that emotional shit and all that shit in your head. But I mean, it might be easier financially and physically taking care of someone else. Selfishly, it's easier. But I don't think I could deal with the guilt of. I had to rehome a pet years ago, and it still bothers me to this day. It does, because I don't know. I couldn't. I just ripped the Band-Aid off. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to stay in contact with people, this and that, and I was homeless at the time, and it wasn't fair to the animal, my dog. But anyway. This video is way longer than anybody's ever going to watch. But if you do, thank you. I appreciate it. But, like, subscribe, and share. Peace. Choices, everybody. Make good ones today so that tomorrow is a freaking easier and better. Make it easier tomorrow for us. And again, if it wasn't for all the adversity and the downs in your life, the ups wouldn't seem so fucking up. They just really wouldn't, so that's my sage advice on this, I don't know, it's at the 21st or something like that of July. We're moving shortly, so I've been packing up. I haven't been at the shop a lot. I have a busy day today, busy day tomorrow. Going to continue to pack up. Packed up, a lot of the delicate stuff in my son's room, his collectibles, hopefully all that shit, I did it the best I would do for my stuff. So, but anyway, part of being a dad, right? But yeah, my kids have respect for me and all that shit now. I have respect for myself. So that's a big one. All right, peace, y'all. Have a good one.